This is Austin St. John, Jason, the original Red Ranger. You are watching the Morphin Network.
Live.
Hey guys, sorry for the late delay. We have him here. Something happened to the software, so we're sorry for that. But at least we have him here, and he's gonna kill us now because it was Mesagog form. Sorry, Latham.
Yeah, Mesogog's just about to come out. So close.
But anyways, Latham, welcome to the page. And how are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. You guys again. I guess I met you a few years ago.
Yes, we had a good breakfast. I don't know if you liked that breakfast.
And I met you too, but I don't think it was as. I met you too, but I wasn't as big, or it was just a quick meet and greet.
Where did I meet you?
It was at your table at Morphicon.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
We also talked about King Kong then.
Okay.
Oh, can you tell us about yourself?
Well, I'm just an easygoing, wealthy scientist who likes to experiment on himself. And wait, that's Anton Mercer. No, my name's Latham Gaines. I grew up in New Hampshire. Just a creative dude. I do a few things. I'm an actor. I'm also an artist. I compose music sometimes, and I invent toys. And
Nice.
I'm of an undetermined address. You never know where I'm going to be at any time anywhere in the world. And that's me.
Did you invent this toy?
Yeah, did you invent that
I
toy?
did not invent that toy. A fan did give me that toy at Morphicon. I don't remember who, but someone was kind enough to give me that. So I do have that, and I'm proud to have that. He's not super accurate, but he's accurate enough.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
With the Lightning collection, he might look amazing.
Yeah. So, I don't know if you knew this, Latham. So. I don't know if Dino Thunder is actually coming back for this current season, but I don't know if any castmates are coming back, but they did show the 3 original Rangers from Dino Thunder. Yes.
I didn't know that. What do you mean it's coming back?
Well, so it's the 26th anniversary of Power Rangers. They brought in like all the Dino seasons are supposed to be coming back, and they did like a picture of red, blue, and yellow.
I see.
In the shop, but we don't know if the actors, any of our cast members will be there, but they did show us a picture of those 3 coming back. But I don't know if the actors, 2 actors, but I don't know if
The suits will be there. We don't know if the actors will.
Oh, okay. Well, they need to get Mesogog back. I mean,
so that means that you could come back.
Any fans out there who love Mesogog, you should write in and say I want Mesogog back, because I would do it. I would put the suit on again. I'm sure the head and the suit is still in New Zealand somewhere. In somebody's closet, and I would put it on again for one more season.
Nice.
And that would surprise the hell out of me, wouldn't it? I'd just come around the corner and say, "I'm back." They probably make bitches, but I would say, "I'm back." In some other way.
Okay.
That would be sweet. How did you get started in acting?
My mom brought me to an audition when I was like 10 years old for a musical. She thought I should do it, and I did, and I liked it, and I kept doing it all through high school. I did plays, and then when I moved to New Zealand, they had a lot of TV work going on, so I started working on Hercules and Xena and those kind of shows down in New Zealand back then, around 2000, 2001, that kind of thing.
Best thing. Ryan?
Yes. So you actually like musicals?
I do. I used to be in musicals. It was fun. I don't. Maybe I don't like watching them as much as I like being in them. It's fun. It's a challenging acting form, and as a young man, it was a great way to meet girls.
Okay, I'm actually guilty of that too. So I feel you, because I was also in theater, and that's the reason why I joined musicals, just to meet girls too.
Yeah,
so
it's good. But no, I think a good musical is a great thing. It's a beautiful thing.
Can you tell us the audition process was like for Power Rangers?
Well, it was a pretty normal audition. I had to go. I heard I had an audition for Power Rangers, which I knew of, but I really was thinking it was more of a kids show. So I think, to be honest with you, I was not thrilled about auditioning for it, but it was a job. So I showed up and I auditioned to be Anton Mercer. They didn't know anything about the dinosaur at that time. So I showed up and did, I think, one scene for Anton Mercer with Trent as an audition, and then I sort of forgot about it. And then 2 weeks later, I got a call that I had a call back with a producer named Doug, who had come down to New Zealand, and so I drove back up and did a callback with him where I did Anton Mercer's scenes again, and then he told me about the dinosaur part and how he was gonna turn into a dinosaur, but he didn't know exactly how or what his name was gonna be or how to do that. So for the second audition, he asked me if I would go home and come back the next day and be a dinosaur, was all he said. So I remember going home and thinking, that is weird. I remember sitting at home and thinking, wow, I don't know how to do that. I think I even watched part of Jurassic Park or something like that at that time. Yeah, exactly. And I was like, I gotta be a dinosaur. I gotta be a guy who turns into a dinosaur. So I'm walking around with like arms, and I was like trying to figure out as an actor in the mirror how I was gonna go back the next day and be a dinosaur without looking just ridiculous. And then I knew I would turn into a dinosaur, so that part I get. Like, you would go through turning into somebody else, but how you would be as a dinosaur. And I didn't know he would talk. So we never talked about Mesogog talking. Like, I just didn't know. I've told this story before, though. I had 2 cats at that time, and I was actively trying to figure out how to do this callback, and I saw one of my cats pissed off at the other cat. And, you know, cats will do this thing where they go... I thought, oh, that's really scary. Like, that's kind of cool. So I thought, what if I used that? Like, and I thought, okay, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna walk a little bit weird, like I turn into a dinosaur. I'm not gonna go over the top, but I'm gonna walk a little bit weird. I'm gonna kind of move, like kind of sharp, like dinosaurs do, and then I'm gonna give this hiss thing and kind of do like a claw rip. So that's basically what I did at the audition when I went back the next day, and I thought that was pretty cool. And then I talked to Doug, and Doug said, I want to make this scary. And I said, yeah, me too. I said, I can do this voice. And he's like, yeah, we'll do this voice. So we just kind of worked on it together. And then I heard I got the part, and I was excited because I realized at that point it was not really like a kid's show. I mean, it is, but it isn't. And that this producer really wanted to scare kids. And I thought, you know what? I've seen a lot of like shitty bad guys. And I had played shitty bad guys. Like, I've played more bad guys than good guys, right? So even for me doing Bridge to Terabithia, that was weird. Like, to be like a nice dad. You know, I haven't really done that before. I've done a lot of bad guys, and I like bad guys. And I've been a bad guy, where I have done an evil laugh. And I've been like over the top and like really arch. So at this point in my career, when I got this part, I thought, I'm not doing any of that. And I said to Doug, I'm not doing an evil laugh. I'm going to be the opposite of Lothor before, who I thought was ridiculous. And all those bad guys in Power Rangers I had seen, I thought were ridiculous. Like, they were giggling and they had like weird outfits. Lothor had a ponytail. I'm like, this is not scary. Like, if you can't have Power Rangers, you can't have heroes unless you have a good bad guy, like a real bad guy. You should be really scary. So I thought, I'm excited about this job. I'm gonna really scare the shit out of kids, and I'm gonna do something they've never done in Power Rangers. So I was excited. So I went from thinking, Power Rangers, I don't know, to like, this is gonna be fun. And then when I met JDF, you know, like the first day, we started talking, and he was like, look, you gotta know, man, this show's big. He's like, I got all kind of fans. Like, this is not kids watching this. This is like a lot of, you know, there's older people watching this. And I was like, okay, cool. All right, cool. So then I took it more seriously maybe than I had been, and that's how that came together.
Hey, on the bright side, you were a great villain, because like I'll say this. I was like I was 9 years old when I first watched you. And yeah, she did scare shit out of me.
Yeah, you were like who I was trying to scare. You know, that age, you know, I'm like, I want to really be scary. And I had done enough bad guys to know how to do it. Like, I knew how to make him really scary. He's scary looking, to be honest. Mesogog's outfit is fantastic. And the guy who did, his name was Mark something, who did the head. Yeah, the head was fantastic. And they did a great job with that, and with the makeup and everything. So he didn't look stupid to start with, like Lothor. I always thought Lothor looked really stupid. And it would be hard to be really scary if you look like, you know, like I always said, you have a ponytail. How scary can you be? You know what I mean?
And you kicked his ass too.
Yeah, Lothor looks like Caitlyn Jenner. It's not scary.
Yeah, and I remember there was like one scene, I don't remember what episode it was, but it was when you guys made a monster, and Mesagog is like this. And I was just like, wow, that was freaky. So.
Yeah, I use that a lot. I use that cat thing a lot. And I got, you know, or saying excellent, or some things that I would go back to that I thought we could throw in there in the script, because those aren't in the script. You know, it's not like it says, Mesogog says this and then he hisses, or we started adding those things in. Also, I don't know if you know this, but we were supposed to do the voice later. We were supposed to do it more like a suit actor. So Doug on the first day said, this is great. So Doug said, just make up some voice.
Yeah,
do
I
this.
use that a lot. I use it.
And then later in the studio,
I use that
we'll
cat
put
thing.
the proper voice in. But on the first day, I just started walking around doing the Mesogog voice, and it sort of resonated in the helmet. Doug came over to me after the first scene. He's like, holy shit, that's it. That's the voice. Like, that's it. Like, let's mic this. Let's just do this right now. I was like, yeah, let's do it. Let's just do the voice. So the helmet kind of helped the voice, and I had an idea of what the voice should be. And so we didn't do it later. I've said this too, when people compare Mesogog to other bad guys, I've gotten competitive about it before. If you've been to, I think there was some convention where I got fairly competitive about when people asked me about various bad guys, and my reasoning why I thought Mesogog was the best bad guy in Power Rangers history was that I did do all those things. You have some of these other characters like Zed or whatever. It's a combination of people. It's one guy in the suit. It's another guy doing the voice. So I always felt like that between me and Doug, we did a good job of making that character all happened on those scenes on the day. Nothing was done later. They didn't do anything to my voice. And so that's why I still think Mesogog was the most sort of complete bad guy that we've had on the show.
And plus, what I appreciate about it is that you actually were in the suit, correct?
Yeah, I was in the suit. Exactly.
So that's why I really appreciate for doing it, because some actors didn't want to do it. It's more voice actor. I was glad that you actually found out you did that.
No, I really wanted to. I had to, and I knew that was going to be the fun part. I mean, it's not fun wearing that suit.
That's why I still
heavy and really sweaty, but it made me feel like the guy. So that when I was when I was Mercer, I could appreciate the difference, and so that was fun. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, and that totally surprised me that you did all those things, because, like I said, Power Ranger villains tend to be suit actor, voice actor, different combinations.
Yeah.
But yeah, you definitely earned your paycheck for that.
Yeah, paycheck.
Yeah, it was work.
Can you tell us your experience while filming Power Rangers? Like, any memorable moments?
It was a good experience. I got along really well with Jeff and Kevin and Emma and James and JDF. Got along really well with all of them. We had a fun time on set. Those kids really enjoyed it, and it's a mellow place to film in New Zealand. Like, we have beautiful locations, and it was really easy. And it was just Mesogog scenes where I wasn't with the kids a lot. I wasn't with the Power Rangers a lot. It's usually me and Elsa, or me and Zoltar. What was his name?
Zeltrax.
Zeltrax.
Yeah. That sounds like a herpes medication now. I didn't realize that. Now that I think about that, I couldn't use that during that kind of that's what that sounds like. Yeah.
I love you, man.
A lot of the Mesogog stuff, was in the lair or whatever. But in between shots, they're there and we're there. We're hanging out in each other's trailers. I got to be part of Kira's music video as Mesogog. That was pretty fun. We play various pranks on each other and things like that. But it was one of my more favorite filming experiences, I think, because the cast was all really good and really got along well. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes there's a bad vibe on the set and you're making something, but people are really selfish or they're having problems with somebody else. But this cast wasn't like that. Everybody really enjoyed it and I had a good time.
You really gelled together.
Yeah, you really did together. And plus, the acting was great.
We did, and we got along really well considering we didn't do that many scenes together. And I got along really well with Jason. I thought Jason was, he's a good guy. He's a good guy.
Yes.
Yes, he is. He's a really good guy. When I met him, he actually showed me love and generosity. So
yeah, absolutely. He's like a real dude, and he loves his fans, and he's a great guy. I got to see him and Jeff last year when they came to Auckland, and it was fun to see him again.
It's a shame, we talked about this before, it's a shame they couldn't have worked an Anton Mercer cameo into Ninja Steel's anniversary special.
Yeah, it would have been fun. I mean, I'm always open to do more. You have to get in touch with me.
And you never know. If he brought back some Power Rangers and some old, he might bring you back too. So
yeah, you never know.
Now, do you have any fun behind-the-scene moments with your cast members? Any pranksters on set? Any nice, funny moments?
Well, Emma's music video was one of the funnier things. So Kira shot a music video. I can't remember what the name of the song is. And they did like an MTV video. She's on a platform and it's like spinning and she's playing. Like, they did a fair amount of Kira music in Dino Thunder, but this was like this really big video. But I was watching it in my Mesagog outfit as they were filming it, because we're going to film Mesagog after this video. And Doug's there. So I start joking with Doug, like, hey, you should put Mesogog in this video. I mean, I should put the head on, give me the lyrics, and then I'll be like up there as Mesogog singing something. You know, it'll be a funny like thing you can have for a B-reel. And Doug loved that idea. He's like, absolutely, get Latham the lyrics. Let's get the head on, like learn it. So I'm sitting over there like learning some of her lyrics, and then sure enough, they put me up on the stage, and it's spinning around, and the camera's there, and all it spins around. There's Mesogog like to the music, like doing her lyrics and her song. It was funny as hell. Everyone's dying laughing. The crew is dying laughing. So that footage got recorded, and it's somewhere, over the Disney archives somewhere. I don't know. I've never seen it, but that was a particularly funny moment where we did a thing that was like expensive and time consuming that you never do on sets. Nobody ever goes, yeah, let's fuck around and do some footage that we don't need. But Doug wanted to do that, so we did, and everybody loved it. There was a lot of pranks of like, for a while we were clipping, for some reason, clothespins to each other. That was another thing I remember. That was like a crew prank. Like, there was all these clothespins they used to like pin gels to lights, right? So we started going around and pinning them on each other's costume. So maybe like right before Jeff would go to film some scene, I would clip it to the back of his shirt right as he would walk out, and he would do this whole scene like standing there, and he wouldn't know that he had this clip on, and he would come off, and I'd be like, burn, you had this clip on, things like that. So those kind of things.
You know what's funny about that? They did show it on Disney Channel. I mean, to Disney.
Really?
That prank thing. So they interviewed, I think it was like Kevin Rainey.
Oh, okay.
And he did mention that you guys did the footage of you guys like clipping something. I remember that I was like in middle school, like, yeah, behind the scenes is Dino Thunder. We picked planks, and they did, I think, show Jeff pinning something. I forgot, but yeah, they did show that.
Yeah, that's funny.
Also, Shout Factory, if you're listening, find Lathan's footage of him as Mesagog dancing to Emma's music video, because that would be very interesting to see.
I would love to see that.
Technically, Hasbro has it now, so Hasbro.
Hasbro, dig that stuff up.
It's funny, we work with Hasbro now. I invent toys sometimes, and so we work with Hasbro. We know them. They were telling us, I think, earlier last year that they were getting all the Power Rangers stuff, and now they know of my link with Power Rangers. This guy, Rich Maisel, who's great, who's the head of inventor relations. So he's brought it up a couple times, and he'll tell people at meetings like, okay, so Latham's here, he's got this toy he wants to show us, and Latham was Mesogog, Power Rangers, like, we got to work him in. So they're trying to find some sort of way that we could work this connection between me making toys and me being in one of their properties, So.
Ooh.
Interesting. It's funny. The current cast, they were taught by a previous Ranger, and so that's funny. There's that connection, and you're helping with the toys, and now you're doing, and you were the villain. So anyway, so next question. Oh wait, what is your thoughts? What is your thoughts on the Power Ranger fandom?
Well, like I said, I didn't know there was one until JDF basically told me there was. JDF told me about Ranger Board when I first got cast. So before we even started shooting, I went on, I believe it's called Ranger Board, a website called Ranger Board. Mm-hmm. And I saw that was not full of children, but it was full of intelligent adults and older people who had various intelligent thoughts about the show and who really took it seriously. So from that day, from when I first saw Ranger Board to even up to now, or going to some of the conventions, I realized that it's a very impressive fan base who has a very impressive knowledge and appreciation for the history of the show. So that really changed the game for me, and it changed the game about how I approached working on the show, because I realized that there were a lot of people who took this very seriously. So my impression of the fandom is that it's massive and very impressive and ongoing. This is why I show up for something like this with you guys, and it's why I have a couple of times gone to the conventions, because I see that there's a massive appreciation for it that goes beyond just silly viewing of some kids show, which is what I thought it was originally. But I get now that it's much bigger than that, and I've met a lot of fans for whom it means a tremendous amount, and so that makes it meaningful for me.
Now, we know that you make toys and also music products. Can you tell us about your product development company, Adventureland?
Yeah, we're called Opie and Me. Adventureland is the website that my wife set up. That she puts various pictures on there of things that we do. But about 10 years ago, I had always been making toys. Like, I used to build radio control airplanes and kit those out with weapons or cameras or things like that. So I was always messing with stuff like that. So about 10 years ago, I thought, I think I could do this for a living, and knowing that the companies need ideas, toy companies need ideas. So we started this company to develop ideas and pitch them and then sell them to the toy companies. So that's one of the things that we do. And also my brother and I together make weird musical instruments, and we score theater and movies with those. We did our first feature film last year called The Kid with Ethan Hawke. My brother and I did the music for that.
Awesome.
Fascinating.
Have a look at that on Amazon. It's on Amazon Prime if you want to have a look at that. It's called The Kid with Ethan Hawke. And my brother and I did the music with instruments that we built.
Awesome.
Where do you see your character right now in the Power Ranger universe? Did him and Elsa ever get married?
Oh my god.
That's one of the most interesting questions I've ever had. I've had a lot of questions about my characters, and I never had one quite like that. All right, I'm just now remembering why you're saying that, because of the last episode, and they're at the dance, right? And Elsa, she's the principal at that point.
Yes.
And she and Anton Mercer did seem very friendly. Yes, I'm gonna say yes. They were married, but they're already divorced. But yes, they were married. They had a few good years, but they're no longer together. Anton Mercer is still doing. Yeah, that would be more interesting if Elsa was now his ex-wife, but they're still friendly.
Right.
And Anton Mercer is still doing. Now he's divorced. He's separated. Trent is still his only son, even though he's not his biological son. And Anton Mercer's still doing what he always did. He's got his foundation. He's got his lab in his house, and he's a bit Bruce Wayne. And he's working on things to try to save the planet. And he's maybe not experimenting on himself as much as he used to. I always thought that was a funny scene where Anton Mercer he's making all the potions, and then he's just like, you know what? Fuck it. I'll just drink this. I'll just drink this shit. I always thought that was funny. I'm like, that's such a bad idea. It's just a terrible idea. I guess I'm a good scientist, and I thought, it's not gonna kill me. It's gonna anyway. I always thought that was funny. I drank it, and then I'm convulsing. I'm going through hell. Like, what did you think was going to happen when you drank that? So that's where I see him now. He's still doing what he always did. He doesn't have any more kids. He's no longer married, but he's still working to try to better humanity.
Insert that scene from Naked Gunmen where the entire auditorium went. When he drinks the potion. Also, a real shame that you got to meet up with, we talked about this too, you got to meet up with Jason and Jeff when they went back for Super Ninja Steel. And it's a real shame that they couldn't have worked in, a Mesagog cameo.
Yeah.
Even for this season, like, with the Dino stuff, like, they could have brought you back too.
Yeah.
As
Yeah.
So.
Maybe next year, the next season's going to be Dino theme.
Yeah, next year's also Dino theme too.
If fans want to see him, then fans should write in and they'll bring me back. I would do it.
All right. Can you tell us your advice for any aspiring actor out there or actress?
I think one of the smartest things I can think of is that you need to know your what they call your casting. What your value to the business is going to be. I think that's a good way for actors to think about it, right? A lot of actors think about, I want to be an actor and I want to be famous. If you think about your contribution to the business, what you can offer, in other words, a casting director and then a director of a TV show or a movie, because it's a business and they need to fill these roles and fill these characters. You need to know what you can offer. And in other words, it's kind of about being a little bit less selfish. Figure out what your casting is, work on your craft, work on your voice, be versatile, be a hard worker, and be persistent as hell. It's about persistence. I mean, I think I was mentioning to you on this audition for Anton Mercer, I was at a point in my career where I'm auditioning a lot, and that's your job. You go and you audition. You don't expect to get it. You just work. And I'd get the script and I'd work on it as hard as I could, and I'd go in and I'd do the audition and I'd forget about it. And then wait till the next day and do the next one. You just got to treat it like a job. Don't get in it to be famous or to get somewhere like that. Get in it to help contribute to the arts in general. But it certainly is about knowing what your look is, what you should be cast for, working on your craft and on your voice, and taking it really seriously. I mean, all the best actors I know are very hard workers. They're never late. They're nice to the crew. They're nice to the extras. You've got to just really be a hard worker and take it very seriously.
Right on.
True. Right on.
Good
right
advice. Good advice. Do you have any upcoming projects you want to share with the Power Ranger community?
No, I still work as an actor sometimes in New Zealand. I did a series last year. I think it was called Murder is Forever, where I did play a bad guy again. I played a husband who murders or hires someone to murder his wife. So that was sort of fun. That was the thing I did last year. So I don't have any immediately upcoming acting projects, but my brother and I are getting ready to do some more film work. That's something I can't talk about right now. But yeah, you never know. I'm going to be popping up in this and that. You're always going to be seeing me.
I do have one more question. Do we expect to see it at Morphicon this year?
That's a good question. So last time they reached out to me and I couldn't. They invited me last time and I couldn't do it because I was in New Zealand. Now this time I may be. Yeah, I actually just started talking to them about it. I typically am in New Zealand in September, so it usually doesn't work out. But I think this time I may be here. So. Yeah, and also there's a couple of people I'd like to see who are going to be there who I haven't seen for a while, like Kevin.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin. Hopefully Jeff. I don't know if Jeff's going, but I think I already heard Kevin's going. So.
And JDF's going to be there too.
Yeah, to see JDF. So it's always fun to see those people. It's like old home week when you come back, and I wouldn't have seen Kevin now for a couple of years. So that would be. We always have a good time at those conventions. It's kind of hard work during the day, and you're meeting a lot of people, but especially at night, we have fun getting together and having a few drinks, and yeah, I'd love to see those guys again. It's always fun to see.
And can I ask one question before you go to the viewers?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. This question's been brewing throughout the whole interview. It's the elephant in the room. It finally needs to be asked. Why don't you just want to rule the earth like all the other sickos?
Oh my god.
The human side of me, the human side of Mesogog. That's Mesogog's great weakness, right? That he's really human as well. And so maybe some of these other sickos are less human, but Mesogog, Anton Mercer was always in there with Mesogog, and Mesogog was always in with Anton Mercer. Now it's something Doug and I talked about, that Mercer knows he turns into something, right? He knows he goes somewhere. And Mesogog mentions, I think, in some episode about Mercer. So I think there's a knowledge that they're the same person in a way. But ultimately, to answer your question, I think Mesogog's weak in the end because he's partially human.
Right.
That's really what. And then Anton Mercer's actually a good guy who's actually was trying to make the planet better. Mercer was never about destroying the planet. Mercer was never an evil guy. And so I think that good streak, that Mercer has infected Mesogog to a certain extent.
Right. That's something really cool that I didn't realize until later on about Dino Thunder. The villains are not actually space aliens, demons, or machines. They're all basically modified humans. Mesogog was Mercer, Elsa was just some innocent woman, and Zeltrax was Smitty.
Yeah, it was a herpes medicine.
Yeah, and Mesogog, a villain from Earth, was able to kick the butt of a space ninja warlord.
Yeah, quite easily, actually. It was nothing.
Oh my god.
And this time,
it. Exactly.
All right, so Latham, we have some fans that want to say hi to you.
Okay, great.
Timmy Dacus says, Maramus Smith, who played Elsa, is coming back as an aunt. Oh my god. So, he said, Neil Johnson says, hello, Lord Mesagog.
Ooh, Lord Mesagog. I've never heard that before. Thank you. I'll take it. Lord Mesagog. Yeah, he's going to be in Downton Abbey next year. So
Chris Dunn says, your character Edward North in the cult had so much depth. What was your approach to that character, and how was this approach different from your other characters? Oh.
Very good question. Yeah, he's a cult leader, so it's a different kind of bad guy, but I also realized that any good cult leader wouldn't come across as a bad guy. It was something I thought a lot about at the beginning. It was in the same through line as Mesogog, where I didn't want to be an obvious bad guy or a cheesy bad guy. So knowing that I was going to play a cult leader, there was a temptation to play it like a cult leader, which I think means being sort of grand and overly confident or something. I figured that he needed to be attractive where people wanted to be around him, and that he should be likable and just seem like a good guy. I feel like that's the most dangerous kind of cult leader, because someone who's attractive, someone who has charisma, someone who just seems like he just wants to help you. He's not asking you to even join. He's like, hey, I'm just thinking about these things. I'm trying to be a better person. And just so I thought I would approach it that he was like a nice guy. He's gonna have to go crazy later a little bit, but I appreciate that comment. I think maybe the depth came because I was trying to make him as human as possible. And I've seen other people play cult leaders where I think they're playing it, like I said, like a cult leader. And a good cult leader would just be a very attractive person who you just wanted to be around. And so I thought, in order to do that, I based it a little bit on my dad. My dad's got all these people that just love him and follow my dad around, and he's got a certain charisma that is offhanded, and so I was sort of channeling that a little bit. But that's what I was trying to do. I was trying to make him just like an attractive dude, a good guy to be around, and also to leave some room so that later I could get a little bit more cult-like sort of.
It's like Pennywise.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good point.
How many hours in makeup did it take for the Mesogog makeup to be applied?
Yeah, it took a while. I'd say like 3 hours. So I would get there at like 5, and they would start with all the black and painting all the black, and then painting the eyes, and then I had contacts that I had put in, and then they would install these teeth, and then more black paint, and then like a head, and then they head wrap, and then they put the head on in 2 pieces. So if I got there at 5, they'd start shooting me by 8. So it basically took like 3 hours.
Oh, so here's some information for you, Latham. So your cast member Mirama Smith, that played Elsa, she's actually coming back for this season.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's great.
Oh, Hasbro, get him to season. We need him in.
Bring him back.
Bring him back. Baba Shadow said he loved your role in Bridget Terabithia as Anna's dad.
Oh, cool. Yeah, that was fun.
That also made me cry. Oh my god.
Yeah, that was very sad. That was very sad. That's a sad ending. It's been fun to watch those 2 kid actors now too, who are both grown up and doing really well. Mm-hmm. They were both great to work with as well, and Robert Patrick. That was great to meet him.
Bobby Shadow says, Mr. Gaines, I'm so glad you said Lothar was a crap villain.
Everybody knows. If you were like maybe 18 months old or something, you were scared of him at that time. Maybe a 2-year-old would think that was a good villain, but by the time you're 3, he's clearly not a good villain.
Belinda Powell, oh, you're new. Hello, Latham. What was your best part playing Mesogog?
I liked all the scenes in the lair. I thought that was quite fun. The directors, the show had different directors, so you'd have one director would come and do 1 or 2 episodes, and then a different director would come and he would do 1 or 2 episodes, and then another one would come. So all the scenes in the lair, I basically got to direct to a certain extent. I remember one director came in, and you read quickly what the scene's going to be. You're all standing there, and you go, yeah, and you read it. And then the director will block it. They'll say, well, why don't you stand here and you stand there? After the 2nd or 3rd episode, the director started saying, well, Latham, what do you want to do here? And I'd be like, okay, so I'm going to stand here. Elsa, you come in with Eldrac. I'm going to sit in the throne. So I'd say any of those scenes where I start off in the throne, I loved. I felt like he was like an evil king, and I got to sort of dictate how those scenes would go. And that's unusual for an actor. You're usually being told what to do. But the scenes in the lair, I got to sort of direct those to a certain extent. And that was tremendous fun. I mean, it's just fun to be a bad guy. And if you look scary and you sound scary and you've got scary dialogue and the cameras are ready to go. And so I'd say any of those scenes in the lair were really fun. Probably my favorite part.
Awesome.
I have a picture of you in the throne, but I can't show it now.
Yeah. I loved that throne. I thought it was so cool, and it was a perfect fit for me. And I would just sit there and drape my hands over and just kind of put my head down and just be very still. And it felt, it's the type of thing that you get into acting for. You know what I mean? Something fun. And a lot of the time you think as an actor you're going to be doing all these fun things, but a lot of it's very mundane, or a lot of it's embarrassing or boring or things you feel uncomfortable with. But to have that outfit on and sit on the throne and have them come in is the type of thing you picture. Was a little bit, now seeing Game of Thrones, the kind of Iron Throne kind of vibe where you've got this power position and you've got this dialogue, and they're going to come in and I can deliver it however I want to deliver it and at the speed that I want to deliver it and make the scene the way that it should be. So that was a great setup for an actor, and those scenes and that throne in particular I absolutely loved.
Bobby Shadow says, Latham, you definitely had a much better Jekyll Hyde characterization than Hackle and Snide.
Definitely.
Well, I appreciate that. Yeah, I worked hard on that. That was hard because again, it's easy to make that cheesy, and not having experienced that in real life, you're like, how do I do that? How do I do this in a way that's scary and realistic? it's hard. There's a scene where the first time you see Mercer turn and the teeth start coming and the sort of slime comes out of his mouth. That was a camera they attached to my chest so that I could spin around and you could see what was happening. And that was very hard work. I think I even pulled like a muscle in my back or something. That camera was so heavy, and I'm spinning out this stuff and spinning around and like more and sweating and doing it. So it's fun, but it's really hard. So I appreciate that comment. I worked hard on it to make that seem, again, really scary and realistic, not childish. And I see a lot of actors are lazy with that. And I hate that. They'll just go, change, and then that's it. And they don't work any harder than that on it. And I worked really hard on it to make it scary. I wanted everyone watching that to go, oh my God, that looks really real. That looks really scary. I thought, what's the point? I don't care what show it is. You should be putting that much into it, And I'm glad to say that I have, because I still have people come up to me, even random people. It was even like a pizza delivery guy recently. It was just like, oh shit, Anton Mercer. Oh my God, it was Anton Mercer. Oh man, that scene you did. So it's very satisfying when you've affected people a lot of times when they were kids like you. And it stays with them. So I love that idea that I scared a 9-year-old like you, Ryan, and you'll never forget that. That scared that you got at 9 years old, I did that to you on purpose, and that will never leave you. That's very satisfying.
So hey, I have a short story to tell you. So, I don't know if you noticed. So the previous Dino season had a villain just like you. Yeah, he did the same thing. Heckle like Mr. Hyde and Mr. Same personality.
Yeah.
And I have a nephew now. She loves Dino Thunder, and he also likes Dino Charge. I showed him Dino Charge, your villain. He's like, this guy's not scary. He's funny. And then I showed your character. He screamed and went to his room. I was like, see, Power Rangers back then had good quality. So
exactly.
On a minor side note, the character Ryan's talking about from Dino Charge looks like Zeltrax.
Yeah, he looks like Zeltrax. I think it is Zeltrax. He has reused his costume.
Just repainted his deal. They do that. It's very possible they did that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so again, there are 3 more questions. Timothy Dacus, why did Mesagog appeared with Gorham and Spd and Dino Thunder team up in episode Wormhole?
Why didn't they? Is that what you said?
Oh, why didn't why did your character appear in the?
That's a good question. I have no idea. I was there at that time, and that could have easily happened. I imagine it had to do with money, a budget thing, something like that. I mean, I got pretty expensive.
It's fun.
Maybe that's what happened. I'm not sure. It's probably something like that.
It's funny, like when Lothar invaded, Mesogog was like, this is so fascinating. But then when Gorham and Spd came and invaded, like, Mesogog was nowhere to be seen.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, I don't know why.
2 more questions. Nicola Barrera, what was your main idea, inspiration behind the voice of Mesogog?
The voice. That's a good question. I don't think I've ever actually had that actual question. Okay. So what happened was we were going to shoot. A lot of times with these kind of monster things, what we did with the bad guy on Power Rangers is you do a bunch of test shoots one day before you start shooting the show. So I showed up a couple days before filming started, and the idea was I put on all the whole outfit and the makeup and everything, and then they would film me with the cameras they're going to use and just see how it looks. So I put on the whole outfit, and again, Doug told me don't worry about the voice. So I put on the whole outfit, and I asked him if I could have a half an hour to go next door to this dance studio so I could look at myself in the mirror. So they said, yeah, absolutely, take that. So I got it all on, I got the head on, and I went next door to this like dance studio with all these mirrors, and I walked around for half an hour, getting my walk down and how he was going to move and everything. But while I was doing that, I started kind of mumbling in the helmet, saying some well, I knew what the dialogue was. The idea was I was going to say the dialogue on set. We were going to voice over it later. So I'm going over some of the dialogue I'm going to say. And I started developing the voice, I think, in this half an hour period. And it partially was because it resonated in the helmet. So I started saying, I just started doing the voice like, find the Rangers and bring them to me. I want to see, I was just started doing this voice in the helmet, but I knew they weren't going to record it or weren't going to use it. So I'm not sure what I was thinking, except that it seemed to go with the look, if you know what I mean. I'm looking at myself in the mirror and I'm thinking, well, if he talks like this and his mouth moves a lot, that would be scary. And so it was just something I liked, and it made me feel like the guy. And then when we started shooting it, we shot that first scene, and I spoke like that, and Doug came running over and said, "That's the voice. Like, we got to just use. Let's just mic this. This sounds amazing. Like, it's cool." And I'm like, "All right, let's just use it." So it was just something I thought went with the look of it. In other words, it was what I thought he would sound like, which is an actor's job. You just say.